All right, we helped Jim relocate the funeral parlor and the church. They're a little bit off center, out of plumb, so we got all those set up. So now we'll turn the key on. We'll get the highball from the conductor. Off we go. And the freight load is indeed following us. So now we're going to go up to the main yard. And I've got an idea. We got two different options. We can go up Serpentine, or we can go through the Panama Canal, which is a parallel line that takes you up. They just take you into different sections. So let's go through Panama Canal. It's a little steeper grade going up that direction to get there, but we can handle it. So we're gonna head back over to North Portal Circle, and the switch is lined for that direction. So we're in Midway Circle right now, and this is Gville. It's a G-scale layout. It's got lots of neat full-size artifacts, but this track goes everywhere. It's hard to see, but it goes back behind those hills. There's tunnels and there's crossover bridges. It's in need of some maintenance because of the pine needles, but there's a group that comes down and does all that stuff. There's a full-size side frame from a truck that goes under. All the way over, you can see some bridges way out there over that mound. There's a lake on the other side. There's track that goes the perimeter of the lake. And I better pay attention to what I'm doing here. So we're gonna go that way. We'll continue in Midway. You can just keep going around this circle, just like some of the other circles. That would be the Serpentine line going up. This other line, I think it's called Central, takes you up, but there's steeper hills and it gets you there faster. So if you don't have a heavy train, it's not a consideration. And here's the other junction. Currently the switch is lined to continue in Midway, but we don't need to go in circles. So we're gonna line that to get off of the Midway Circle. And see, that's where it's tricky. The ball is yellow, but this is, if you line them green, I think you just keep going in circles. There may be one that lets you out when it's green, but okay, nobody coming at the junction. So we were just down here a minute ago, well, more than a minute ago. That's the Yuma siding just ahead where we picked up that boxcar. But the nice thing is we got one more car move in. We'll get up a little bit of speed here for this hill. This time we're going to throw that switch the other way because we don't really want to go around the North Portal Circle. Nobody coming down the hill. Burn pit, continuing to Hairpin and Main Yard. That's the route we want. So we'll throw this to the right side. That will send us toward the North Portal Circle from the other direction. Instead of going clockwise, we're going in counterclockwise. And it's double track, so we don't have to worry about opposing trains. But we are going to cross a junction, so we have to consider that there might be oncoming traffic. We want to go it's a little confusing, but this track ahead of us, this is bi-directional briefly to go up through that junction dog walk. So that's what this switch is. But when we operate this stand, it's going to do the next one, which puts us on the correct side of the double track. So if you were to get off and kick this and go that way, you'd be going the wrong way up the hill. So you just throw this handle. And we will divert to the left, being careful of oncoming traffic. And around we go. And just like a street, without signals, you have to be careful. So we could have traffic coming from that way or from that way. So we're going to be careful going across here. And off we go. That's the Rio Grande track that we took to get to Lillyville earlier. There's a line that comes up here called Burn Pit. And you can come down and circle back and go right back up the hill, or you can come down through and shortcut, go toward that and circle back there. Burn Pit used to be the location of the burning piles for all the pine cones. You can see after winter, this track is just covered. So they rake them up, they throw them into these pine needle wooden box cars that are open top. Then you can lift those boxes off and dump them in the pit. They still accumulate them in Burn Pit, but they're not allowed to burn. There's Chiloquin Road down below us. The road goes uphill to crest about where the entrance of Train Mountain is. That's where we're heading to. We're going uphill at 1.76% grade right now. There's Burn Pit. You can see the track right down below. It goes out that way, and then all the pine needles and pine cones. They could probably shred those up and sell them as mulch. Ground cover. Problem is, you don't want to cover the ground too much because it's a fire hazard out here. Always take it easy over these diamonds. They had a track crew out here yesterday that did a great job on this bridge approach. They shored up the sides and then brought the track up, tuned everything so it's level. There used to be a little hump here, and now it's just smooth as can be. Really good work. Okay, here's the junction. We could cross over to Serpentine here, or if we leave it lined left, we'll continue on our route up this central line. There's a camera. We wave to the camera. .82%. Gets pretty steep here, but for a small train it's no problem. 3.01%. That's probably the steepest part of the railroad. .29. It really gets steep. Here's what they call the 2% solution. That allows you to come down or uphill and maintain a more steady grade. That'll connect you over with Serpentine, which maintains more or less 2% grade all the way down. There's the Serpentine up there. It took a lot more zigs and zags to get there than we did. Serpentine goes up and around here and goes through the long tunnel straight into Grand Central Station. The line we're on is going to come up around through what we call Panama Canal, through the 6-acre campground, and then the backside of the main yard, which is where we want to be to drop that freight car off. These are the bridges to nowhere. There is a proposal to make a bridge from here out over the highway, which is just to our left, to access part of the north side. But permitting required that bridge to hold a 10-ton dump truck over the highway, and that cost was just too expensive. The rules were unbending. There's no reason to haul a dump truck over a tiny little railroad bridge, especially when there's road surfaces that can be crossed at ground level right below. So that idea is stalled out, and those bridges are mostly just for looks, unless something changes. This is Panama Canal. You can see they made a big cut here to help with that smooth grade going up and downhill. 1.26% right here. And the picnic ground is just up here. Train full of happy people. Now we're coming up to the top of the hill. We're going to circle around and go through 6-acre campground. That's a camping ground available to members. There are some water spouts and a portable restroom. They have plans in the works to make a shower facility. It's also home to some more of our large-scale collection. We've got the newly acquired Weyerhaeuser diesel switcher. It's an old Baldwin diesel. And Just a few days ago, we replaced some ties and then put the train set together with a backhoe, coupled everything up together. There are plans to repaint the locomotive, make it look all spiffy. So that's a full Weyerhaeuser train set right there. Locomotive, water car, some bunk cars, and a caboose. Here's another passing track. It's called Deborah's Corner. They can do tour trains from here. Sometimes classrooms will bring in buses, load on the students, and take them for train rides. There's some arch bar trucks and a bumper. And there's the rest of the Weyerhaeuser train with a little bit more room, just in case something else cool shows up. You can always stretch them back out and add another piece of equipment in there. All right, we have a favorable signal. Straight up means you can keep going. Diagonal means caution. It's the equivalent of a yellow light or thereabouts. And straight across means don't go any further. Just like a semaphore. There's a full-scale Pennsylvania Railroad signal that one was modeled after. We'll see that in a minute in the main yard. Now we're up top. This would be the switch outbound to the bridge to nowhere. If that was connected to the north side, you could go out to the north side and then you come back in on this other switch. And we want main yard, so let's see. I think we're good. We've got two favorable signals. Let me think about this. We want to be one inside the main track. So this is putting us on the outbound. I'm gonna throw this lever and that'll switch us to the second track in. And that signal's giving us the equivalent of an approach or a yellow signal. See, if it was straight down, that would be a stop. Straight up would be the equivalent of a green, just like a semaphore. You kind of have to use your imagination. And in the distance, you can see the full-size Pennsylvania signals, which basically read the same information. And we are going to have to hand throw this switch because somebody kicked it back over to the track from which we just came. Make sure those points are seated. Same deal on a full-size train. If the points on the switch aren't seated, you're going on the ground. Now, what do we want to do here? We want to go to the main yard. Should we go down this track here, this second one? I think that's what we want. Let's back up a minute. I'll kick this switch over. Or, yeah, there are lots of options. I think this is going to be our best option. This is the best track. Some of the other stuff is a little bit lumpy, and I don't really want to derail. It's not the end of the world, but it's kind of a pain. Especially with someone else's equipment. A lot of the freight cars on this railroad are loaned by the members. We try to take good care of them, otherwise they won't loan them anymore. So there's that Pennsylvania signal. You can see the upper one, which would be this main track, is straight across, meaning you can't go that way. Got to stop and wait for it to clear up. The bottom one is the equivalent of a yellow for the diverging track, which would be, so if a train was there, it's saying it's okay for them to come over on this track. And we are in yard limits, so we got to keep our eyes and ears about us because they might be coming in on us. Thankfully, it's light traffic today. We're just going to pick our way through the yard here. You can see the extent of the capacity. When they have big meets, a lot of these tracks are full up with cars and trains. The old wood tracks are slowly being replaced with some of this little bit newer stuff on tracks. It's a little bit more stable. The wood tends to have problems from the top with the sun, the grain will split out. There's another Pensy signal. What's that? I don't know. I think any of these are fair game. I'll check the list. We're just gonna go down here a little further and we'll go offline for a second, check out our switch list, see where this car needs to go. Okay, we're back. The switch list says tracks 104 through 110. And this is 104, so we're gonna couple up to that box car and we'll report the move as completed after we derail a bunch of times. One more car. That'll do. I'm gonna turn around, ride side saddle on this thing so I can see. Coming back. It's easier than twisting your neck. We'll just come in nice and easy here so we don't throw anything on the ground.
You stopped short.
How's that?
That's good.
Okay. We'll get our safety chain that we so carefully wrapped in circles. I think this one came from Walt Ulrich, because we had lost ours at the last meet, or we think that somebody might have taken it. And that's why I now add it to the handbrake thing so it can't dangle. Okay. Katie's gonna set the handbrake, which is basically just a little chalk block. Here's the trusty goose and flat car. We've got a Train Mountain Railroad flat car to move some seat cushions for a full-size caboose tomorrow. And next to us is Courtney Jones. He's got his NP switcher, a couple of his narrow gauge riding cars. These are pretty cool. They've got drawbar Lincoln pin style couplers. And then there's a large scale, probably 3.5-inch scale train here. It's a great looking locomotive. Rio Grande Southern number 9. Quite a bit larger than our little 042 at home. Looks like it has full air lines, Walshards valve gear. Yeah, this is the real deal. Air compressor, functional bell. See a couple of exhausts there, probably for the blower and the air pump. Propane storage in the tender, and then full scale, looks like side dump cars for the passengers. Cool train set. Another steamer over here. It's got some fire cars on board. Applegate Southern 462. It's a nice looking engine. Take a look at the cab. He's got the main manifold up top there, all the controls, and there's a cool little box cab over there. Belongs to some friends of ours and their rail cycle. Yeah, the yard's getting populated with interesting things. It was pretty empty earlier this morning. It was just our goose and the box cab over there, but as the meet starts to get in full swing this weekend, we'll probably see some more trains show up. Yeah, it's a good sized locomotive. They can pull a lot with that. Just have to be careful because if you derail, it's like the real deal. It takes a while to get back on.